In this corner, it's the little Los Angeles-based crunchy cookie that's more than just popular. It's Famous Amos.
So famous. Yeah. Amos. Amos, not Anus.
And in this corner, it's all aboard as the chewy cookie is setting sail for our taste buds. It's Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Chippy.
Chips Ahoy. The hoi polloi. Chips Ahoy.
It's cookie versus
Ahoy.
cookie. Crunchy versus chewy. You tried it. You tried that. It's a head-to-head matchup. Famous Amos versus the Chewy Chips Ahoy. I'm Nick Novak with my pals Chad Hancock,
Howdy. Ahoy.
Nick Geiger.
Famous.
So
Sort of equal representation.
let's jump right into it here, Chad. You something happened recently with you and a cake. Is that correct?
So I feel like something's always happened to me with cakes. And so just cakes are a part of my life. I'm always eating cakes. But yeah, so this was last weekend. My wife and I were just kind of hanging out. We just finished dinner and we're just sitting there. And she just spontaneously, just out of nowhere, says, I want some chocolate cake. And I was like, absolutely. I always want chocolate cake. But for some reason right then I was like really craving chocolate cake. Like we both sort of simultaneously craving chocolate cake. So we start furiously like yelping, like, okay, where can we get like a good chocolate cake? Like which bakeries are still open, blah, blah, blah. So I call this bakery like about a half mile from my house. They're like, we don't have like the pure chocolate, but we have the Oreo cake left. So, but just in like, they don't have any slices left. They just have the full cake. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go get the cake. We have to have this cake tonight. So drive over there. It's like a 7-inch cake, something like that. And so I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take the cake. So the guy starts boxing it up. But before he boxes it up, he says to me, he says, oh, what's the occasion? And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? And he's like, well, because, from our cakes, like we can write something on it, like somebody's birthday or whatever, like, what's the special occasion for? What do you want me to write? And I'm like, and I don't know why I felt compelled. Like I couldn't just say to the guy, oh, look, I'm a fat sack of shit and I just want to eat some chocolate cake tonight. Like I had to pretend that it was for like a special occasion. So,
For the troops.
Yeah. The only thing that came into my head is that my daughter turned 6 months like a couple days previous. And so I was just like, oh, we're celebrating my daughter's 6-month birthday. So maybe you can just put her name and happy birthday on the cake or something like that. And so he does that. And so I come home with this cake that has this writing on it. And my wife's like, why is that on there? And I'm like, it's a celebration. Like, and so I guess my question is like, am I weird for like feeling like I needed to defend myself in front of this guy and like I couldn't just say, yeah, this is just for me to eat? Like, have you ever done something like that before? Like lied about the reason that you were buying something?
Yeah, I mean, the only time I ever get a little self-conscious, I still do this. I'll go to the grocery store and I look down and I've bought like 3 bags of chips, 2 things of beer, 3 bottles of wine, and I'm like, but this is weird. Like, there's more groceries, but it starts off that way. So I'll go like, yeah, we're having a party, even though sometimes we're not having a party. We're just stocking up. So, but other than that, I don't think it's weird. I mean, especially given now, what time of day was this? This was like 9 o'clock at night. You're frantically running over to get a cake.
I think it was about 7:30. Like my daughter was definitely asleep, but clearly none of the cake was for her.
I mean, they might have seen through it if they're like, your daughter's 6 months and you're just like getting it now. Like,
yeah, she's way too young to be eating cake. Like she's barely eating any solids yet. And the first solid we give her is cake. Like forget avocado or banana, any of that stuff. Start them off with chocolate cake.
The odd part in that she had already had her 6-month birthday like 4 other times that week.
The guy's like, "Oh, how many daughters did you have?" I was like, "Oh, we're just banging them out every single day, just popping a new one out."
Eat cake, fuck, repeat.
I'm like sister wives.
The only thing I could think of is when I was when I was a lot younger and like first had to buy condoms. Like it was a very awkward.
Yeah.
I wouldn't only buy condoms. Like I would go to the store for that sole purpose, but I couldn't get myself to only take that up to the register, even though it's good. Like, you know, you're practicing safe sex. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing you're doing, but I couldn't.
Or you're practicing optimism.
Or you're just practicing not really having to clean up too much when you jerk off later.
But I would always get it with something else, you know, just like buy some other food and like hide it in between 2 boxes of cereal or something.
The clerk is definitely not going to notice. He's just too busy swiping stuff past. Has no idea that you just.
This guy's got a big night. He's going to eat 2 boxes of Life cereal.
If you were buying the condoms, would you be more likely? So let's say you're buying the condoms only. I was gonna say like a 16-year-old guy, which none of us were 16-year-old guys buying condoms. So you're a 21-year-old guy. It's far more reasonable.
You're a 39-year-old guy.
Celebrating your first time having sex in 6 months. So there's
you bought yourself a cake and some condoms. The cake just says fingers
There's one register that has, let's say you're a young guy, one register that has an attractive female in it and one that just has some meathead dude. Which would be you'd be more likely to go through?
With the condoms?
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I mean.
Well, no, wouldn't you want to go through the female to do this and then just look at her and be like, yeah, that's right. I fuck.
Yeah. That's not sexual harassment or anything.
That's right. I fuck. With these ultra small neon pink Oh shit! I used the wrong ones. I flip them over my shoulder.
These are for my 6-month-old. I'm sorry.
Wouldn't you now when you're getting the condoms, would you try to strategically pick the food items so that it has some sort of like, you know, rhythm or pattern to it? So as the guy's like scanning, right, he reads off what he's like, okay, Slim Jims, Jimmy Sticks, Jimmy Hats, you know, so then it sounds all poetic.
What kind of sling blade cashier register you got going on? This guy, cereal, milk, soup,
it does seem
rubbers.
Like guys in TV shows and movies are always listing off the things that people are buying for some reason.
They always accidentally turn on the store PA, right, as like, this guy's buying condoms, so like the whole store hears.
The only time I one time paid a guy to say it when I'm like, extra large condoms, and then he just announced that, and then that's not true, I didn't buy those, but
no, we recently
there you go.
This is totally off topic, but we recently went to a party where it was make your own mac and cheese, and I thought of you, Chad, because everyone brings a different mac and cheese. You're a huge mac and cheese fan.
Yep.
So you're supposed to make some variety and bring it, and everyone's going to try it. It's people that I've never met in my life. It was one of my wife's coworkers. I didn't know a person at this party. It was something like 12 to 4 on a weekend, and we're showing up at like 2:30 because my wife had to work. So we're rolling in with this mac and cheese very late to the game, and we walk in the door, and all I hear is some dude I've never met just say, "Oh, not more mac and cheese." I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, like, okay, that guy is what's wrong with America. There's always room for more mac and cheese.
Well, was it that he felt compelled to try your mac and cheese because you came in with something?
It was said in the vein of like, I've had so much, I'm gonna puke type of a thing. Like, oh, not more mac and cheese, I can't take anymore. And I immediately was like, let's leave. I didn't want to be there in the first place. So,
did anybody have the low rent attitude to bring like just like a box of crap? Like, I hope they were all like sort of like artisanal oven baked mac and cheese or something.
They at least were labeled as such. I really just wanted to bring Kraft and just say, let's just pass this off. Let's write something crazy on there and see if we can pass it off as a different kind of mac and cheese and see if and then there was votes and you could like vote and see who won. And so my kids just started stuffing the ballot box. And so my wife like basically won, even though we showed up at the end and no one even half the people didn't even try hers.
Now, is her mac and cheese good? Do you think it's prize-worthy?
It was well. Here's the thing: why it was better than the rest. It was fucking warm. The rest were all cold because I showed up 2 hours late. So,
did you have any of the other mac and cheeses? And did any like stand out to you?
You know, I tried them all. I don't really. What do you guys think about putting like some kind of a meat into a mac and cheese?
I'm all
Bacon,
about
yes.
it. Little Smokies and a mac and cheese are outstanding. Lobster mac is so good.
You too, Geiger?
I'm fine with anything in general. I like a hot dog or something. No, or like I don't know, like a lamb chop or something. Be weird, but I had bacon or pork,
chop,
especially. I think fits in it pretty good. Yeah.
A big old fucking ham hock just plopped down on the skillet.
The old SNL Bachelor Iron Chef, and then they're like Charlie Sheen makes like shark's head pizza, just makes a frozen pizza, puts a shark's head on top. What's your so you? I take it you were nonplussed with the options you had.
Well, the most nonplussed option for me was showing up to the party, which I want to know.
This sounds like
I
my
hate
fucking
going to
dream.
fucking
Like
work things where I don't know
like...
anybody, and
oh
yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that. But just the whole idea of a mac and cheese party, that sounds like something that for sure would happen in San Francisco. I remember one time we went to like some tasting event that was just like everybody had different ways that they had prepared like bacon. And so it was like all these different, you just walk around and like try all these different bacons. And it was just like so hipstery and stuff. But I guess for the work event would make it like a lot worse.
What's that from? What's bacon from?
that was from like I had my old boss called me bacon for 1 year and a half because one time I said I like bacon.
Bacon. What's up, bacon? I'm a sexual harasser or whatever you turned that guy into.
Just to close the loop on that cake story for those that are wondering at home, I did end up eating 3/4 of that cake. So
that night?
No, I did not eat it later that night.
Indeed.
There we go. It took like about four days to get it all out.
Did you then turn the leftovers into a chocolate cake mac and cheese?
Oh God. Okay, that's where I draw the line.
All right.
Chocolate cake and my mac and cheese? No thanks.
The old chalk and cheese.
Let's eat some cookies.
So which of these cookies we eating first?
Well, we're going to eat them both, and then we're going to give them ratings. So eat it whichever order you want. We got 2 bags of cookies. Now, these are both, I think Famous Amos only comes in these small cookies that I've ever seen. Is that correct?
Correct.
And
that's only
I've
time
never
I've
seen them otherwise.
And we have the mini Chips Ahoy, which turn out to be basically the exact same size as the Famous Amos cookies. So Chad, as he pointed out before we get on, didn't mean to get the harder Chips Ahoy cookie.
Well, yeah, I was in 7-Eleven. These 2 bags were hanging right next to each other. And I'm like, oh, that would be like a good matchup, right? Like Chips Ahoy versus Famous Amos. And I didn't notice that they were Chewy Chips Ahoy. Now, in my defense, they didn't have regular Chips Ahoy. These were the only 2 mini cookies. So I just grabbed them both. And then later, after I'd shipped them to you guys, I'm like, oh, one of them's Chewy. It's not going to be quite the comparison that I hoped. But,
so
well, here we are.
That's
Life's
right.
crazy twists and turns.
One day
am
you're
I right?
6 months old, getting a 6-month-old cake. And then the next, you're dead. So that's life.
Wow.
Right.
And in between, all you did is eat some fucking Famous Amos.
I didn't know what else. I was thinking for another significant event that happened in my life, and there was nothing. I turned 6 months, and then that was it.
And then you died.
Right.
So, Chad, we're not using our regular scale. Do you have a scale for us?
Yeah. Let me finish chewing this cookie. So, this is We have a 3-point scale here for our mini episodes. Because we are eating chocolate chip cookies, I am using a chip-based rating system. So, starting at the top, Doritos, middle, Tostitos, bottom, Cheetos. So we're going to rate our cookies based on that.
Cheetos isn't even a
No,
chip.
but it rhymes with
Dumb
Doritos
fuck.
and Tostitos. And I didn't want to use Fritos because those are really good.
Put them at the top then.
It's so confusing.
Top was Doritos.
All right.
I can't wait to look back on this episode 2 years from now and try to figure out why we gave chocolate chip cookies a Tostitos.
So now I used to, with the Chewy Chips Ahoy, this is bringing back memories. I haven't had Chewy Chips Ahoy in a long time, but Geiger, when I used to live with you, I was famous for buying a pack of the regular Chewy Chips Ahoy, which would have like 3 sleeves of cookies in it. And I would put back like an entire sleeve in one night, which would be 10 cookies. And I'd do that like 3 nights in a row and then go and get another package.
You know what you're not famous for? Banging chicks. No,
or being skinny.
No. Yeah, no, I do remember a lot of those cookies being eaten in the house. I probably had a few as well at various times. I know that you're famous for loving soft batch. That's slightly different, but like a similar ilky where it's like a really soft, squishy chocolate.
I love
chip
soft batch cookies. That's my top chocolate chip cookie.
And you actually converted me to soft batch from Chewy Chips Ahoy. Like I was addicted to Chewy Chips Ahoy for a while. Then I switched to soft batch because you introduced me to them, and I ate nothing but soft batch for like 3-4 years, and then eventually I OD'd.
I really like they have a chunky chocolate Chips Ahoy. It's like a really chocolate laden Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookie that's like in a brown package. It's called like chunky chocolate chips or something, or chocolate chunk or whatever. It's got a lot of chocolate in it.
As I can tell from you saying the word chocolate 12 times in the description of it.
I just had a seizure.
It's a chocolate. They got chocolate.
Chicken, Tostitos.
All right.
In summary, I gave it a Tostitos. Condoms, oil, milk. I just turned into the cash register guy.
Tostitos,
chocolate cookies.
chocolate.
He just keeps saying, you buy chocolate, and he's repeating it every time he scans it. Chocolate.
Then I buy chips right after that. Chocolate chips. Just gotta sequence it right.
Yes, if you buy chocolate and then you buy chips and then you buy chocolate chips.
Right.
All right, so Geiger.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Hat.
Yep.
All right, Geiger.
What's up?
Tell us what you think of these cookies. And give us a rating that is either Doritos, Snoopy,
or throw it in the sink. All right. These are both fine. These are both like gas station cookies, right? They're not cookies in the truest sense. Like they're fine. You can throw a bunch back. They're slightly like tasty. I don't love the soft ones. I'm not a guy. I kind of prefer my chocolate chip cookies a little crispier, actually, unless they're like homemade out of the oven. I like super soft and warm that way. But for store-bought cookies, the super soft ones, I don't know why, I just don't like them as much. And so I like the Famous Amos more than the mini Chips Ahoy. I also feel like the Famous Amos have bigger pieces of chocolate in them, and I get more of a chocolate taste when I eat the Famous Amos. Now, the Famous Amos are dry to the point of...
Do it.
The
Say
thing
chocolate
about the chocolate and the chocolate chip cookies. So yeah, the Famous Amos, they're also dry. Fuck you, guy. They're also
It was in the
dry
last
as
description
shit. Like
that you
they're,
called it
but they're
chocolate laden.
all right. I like one of cookies better than I like the Famous Amos better. because it's chocolate here. I would like to lay down with a hot chocolate lady, drink some hot chocolate, eat these chocolate chip cookies. Now, hold on. I have to stop talking about chocolate and assign them a random chip. I actually kind of like the Famous Amos. It's got a crunch to it that I like, and I like the flavor. I think it has more of the cocoa flavor than the others do. I will give that one a Doritos for some fucking reason, and I'll give the Chewy Chips Ahoy. I just don't like as much. I don't really like them that much at all. They're fine. I give them a Cheetos, I guess. I just don't. I'm not compelled to eat any more at all. And partially it's because we've eaten a lot of sweets tonight, but it's partially just because they're too chewy, and I don't feel that they're as flavorful.
What flavor?
In the way that they're supposed to be.
Chip flavor?
Chips. Cheese. They're Cheetos, right?
Tell us the flavor, but your connection's kind of dropping. So to make sure that I hear it, I need you to say that flavor 35 consecutive times.
You really want me to, motherfucker? I will.
Do it.
Chocolate, motherfucking chocolate, y'all.
All right, Chad. What do you think?
Well, I don't think the Famous Amos are good at all. These are like the kind of cookies that they hand out like on an airplane, and I'm gonna eat them, but like I'm not gonna like it. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, look, it's a chocolate chip cookie, but like it's when I like to think of a chocolate chip cookie, like this is like an abomination, right? It's like a insult to what like a chocolate chip cookie should be.
It's an abomination.
Like
let's slow down here.
Like a chocolate chip cookie is like one of the best desserts that there is out there, right? And so when you have something like this that is just like the absolute lowest rent, like the flavor is not that great. There's a couple chocolate chips in it, but like they almost taste stale. They're so hard. Those are getting an easy Cheetos for me. The Chewy Chips Ahoy are not much better, but they do have that nostalgic, like they bring me back to those days of putting back an entire sleeve of Chewy Chips Ahoy. So I'm going to upgrade them a little bit to a Tostitos. I don't think I would buy either of these again. But unless I was like, I gotta have chocolate, you know? Yeah, so I definitely prefer the Chewy Chips Ahoy here. So break the tie, Novak.
I will. Here's the thing. The Chewy Chips Ahoy are shitty. They're just, they're bad. There was some point, I think it was around when I was like a teenager or something, that they changed like the Chewy Chips Ahoy recipe. And it went from being really good.
Yes.
And it started to suck. And I don't remember when that was, but it was probably 15, 20 years ago.
I think it was when we were in our early 20s, yeah. I remember that happening. Yeah, I think that's about when I switched over to soft batch. Yeah, because that's when I was like, oh, now I'm going to switch to soft batch because Novak had, they changed the recipe. Anyways, go ahead.
I remember this stuff distinctively. They definitely changed that recipe. So this is the bad tasting recipe. I've been for a long time off Chewy Chips Ahoy. These taste bad. They're like rubbery. They're not good. Soft batch cookie is one of the few store packaged soft cookies that are pretty decent. So for those, I'm giving them a Cheetos. I'd have to think even twice. The Famous Amos cookies are a little bit better. They're not great, but they are a little better. They're Tostitos for me. I seem to remember having Famous Amos before and them tasting a little bit crunchier. Mine are like borderline crunchy. So they're not.
Quick, let's find out when they changed the recipe. Does anyone know? Cookie historians.
Did you look it up?
No, I'm just assuming if they were crunchier before.
Right.
Let's do that.
Yeah, find out if you can find the Chips Ahoy thing.
Did Chewy Chips Ahoy change their recipe?
Now type chocolate 20 times after it.
Chocolate.
Dead air.
No idea.
All right.
This is riveting.
According to these news stories, they changed it again in 2017. So
Okay. So it must have got even worse than that. But
Do you have
yeah.
more chocolate or less chocolate? How much chocolate?
chocolate.
I'm giving the nod to Famous Amos. So Famous Amos is the winner here. I would have been curious what I would have thought if we did the crunchy, the regular Chips Ahoy. Do you guys like a regular Chips Ahoy?
I was
don't
never
know.
a huge fan. At least okay, so I never really thought I liked regular Chips Ahoy that much, but I actually remember one incident when I was down in San Diego. This was when my wife was down there, living down there, getting her PhD, and we were hanging out actually with our friend of the podcast, Chrissy, who was on a recent episode, and there was like a potluck kind of thing where people were bringing like all sorts of different foods, and she brought this Tupperware full of chocolate chip cookies, and everybody, and she was passing them around, and everybody was like, "Oh, these cookies are delicious." And because they were in a Tupperware, we thought they were homemade. And then later she confessed, like, "Oh, these were actually just regular Chips Ahoy cookies, and I put them in a Tupperware so you'd think they were
Wow, yeah,
homemade."
nice move.
And it worked.
It's kind of like bringing craft
Hmm.
to a mac and cheese party. It's well done.
It totally is.
Yeah, I've had Chips Ahoy. I just don't remember. I couldn't tell you if I liked them or not. I'm sure they're fine. I don't know. Just no real. Like I said, I like the chunk ones more.
All right. Well, Famous Amos is the winner here this time around. So kind of interesting take there. If you had to say, Gary, you said you prefer a fresh chocolate chip cookie, so that would therefore be chewy. If chocolate chip cookies in its purest, best form for you, how are you going to take it?
Yeah. Oh, they're like right out of the oven, homemade, and even if not right out of the oven, like homemade from like my grandmother and my mother-in-law both make really good chocolate chip cookies. So those are better than anything I could probably buy in a store.
You want the entire thing to be soft then? Like as in just out of the oven, or do you prefer like outsides crunchy?
Yeah, that's probably the case. Like outside crunchy, inside kind of soft and warm still, with the chocolate kind of melted, and then or like if they've already cooled, the whole thing a little crispy then, but still kind of like soft in general. I just don't like a fully soft that just fall apart cookie. It's just kind of not my thing.
Chad?
I used to love them, like almost that they're like on the minus the voice crack, almost that they're like on the edge of underbaked. Like I remember growing up, I loved those Odo Spunkelmeyer ones. They were like big and super super chewy that you could get. My favorite is a homemade recipe that we use from America's Test Kitchen, where you brown the butter that you put in. So you have to like brown the butter on the stove before you put it into the cookie mix or whatever, and those always come out like super delicious. But then I have to make 2 batches because I like them chewy and my wife likes them more crunchy. So I have to like bake her batch for like a little bit longer.
So before we go, what is sort of like the least significant milestone that you guys have celebrated? So at any point, were you dating somebody that made you celebrate like a 2-week anniversary or something bizarre like that?
Can I say birth of my daughter? I'm just kidding.
I celebrated individually the 6-month birthdays of all of your children without telling you. That was probably the weirdest thing of it now.
By eating a cake?
By eating 3/4 cake. No, I mean, it's probably something like a 1 or 2 month anniversary with like a high school girlfriend or something stupid like that. You know what I mean? I don't remember much. I also kind of think it's dumb, and I know some people will vehemently disagree with me, but I really think it's dumb when people do like dog birthdays. It's a dog. They don't know how they are. Who gives a fuck? I'm sure you do it, Chad. No offense.
You bet I do.
Yeah, I just...
He's coming up on his 13th this month.
If you want to give the dog something special to eat, that's fine. The humans don't need to celebrate with like a cake and shit like that. The dog is just going to walk outside.
No, we don't do that. We
just
like bake him a cheeseburger and then like take a picture. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Novak, how about you?
Yeah, I think I probably would have celebrated this like 1 and 2 month anniversary with early girlfriends by buying a box of condoms and letting them go unused for the next year. So, yeah, I don't really remember doing like, my wife was never into celebrating like the months and stuff like that. But some people even now we all have kids, and now we can relate to this. But some people celebrate almost every month that their kid's doing something. There's like pictures posted monthly with how many months old they are, and stuff like that. And that's fine. It's more power to you if you want to do it. But we just never. I barely knew when like a 3-month anniversary was even coming past. It's hard to remember all that stuff. So
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Novak, you just sent me an invitation in the mail. And it's like gold embossed, and I'm supposed to RSVP, and I can bring a guest to the celebration of your mac and cheese competition win. Seemed a bit ostentatious. I didn't want to say anything, but since you brought it up.
The envelope was sealed with cheese.
Yeah, it was delicious, actually.
All right, Geiger, where can people contact us with their stories of celebration?
Yeah, let us know what you celebrate by writing us in at youtrieddat@gmail.com. You can visit our Facebook page, You Tried Dat, hashtag You Tried Dat on Twitter, and you can get hashtag celebrate. What do you celebrate that you think most people wouldn't celebrate? Is it this podcast? It probably is. Thanks in advance. You can go to YouTube.
I mean, yeah, the answer to that question, Novak said, the most insignificant thing we've all celebrated was the time we celebrated the 1-year anniversary of this podcast. Literally nothing less significant we could possibly celebrate in our lives.
That's absolutely true. That and the birth of my kids. SoundCloud, Stitcher, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find us and our insignificant, not in any way impactful listening here. But always thank you for participating and listening as always. We are insignificant in the grand scheme of things. You, the listeners, are not. You're fantastic, and please download it and tell all your friends and make us famous, like Amos.
Yes, the three of us are insignificant, and most of the people on the planet are insignificant. The people who listen to this podcast, significant. That's
right.
You all are significant. So
I don't know if you guys knew this. We only have 50 listeners, but all of them are former U.S. presidents.
One last question, just for you, Geiger. Of the main flavors, is your only choices. Which would you say is your favorite? You could say vanilla, you could say strawberry, or any of the other flavors in that same arena. Which would you say that you prefer?
What kind of food stuff are we talking about?
Maybe I'll narrow it down for you. Which flavor do you want inside of a cookie? Like where there's just parts of the cookie could be this flavor. Okay. The whole cookie wouldn't. But like in various random spots in the cookie, there will be this flavor.
There would be little chips.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Chips of this flavor. Chips of this particular flavor.
That's a good addition.
No.
You mean like Ruffles?
Just like pockets of.
No, okay. Well, it's important to have like butter distributed throughout the cookie.
You want those famous butter chips.
Yep. I liked everything butter chips. That doesn't even make sense at all. She was a real butter chips. You know what I mean, guys? I liked everything butter chocolate chip cookies.
No wonder you never celebrated a 1-month anniversary. Never did.
You're too busy focusing on their chips.
She was really hot, but her cookies suck, so I had to show her the door. In other news, I've got an entirely unused box of condoms that was announced at a grocery store.
That was like the first line on your Tinder profile was just cookies or GTFO.
Yeah. Show me the chips, and by chips, I mean tits. Yeah, no, I don't mean that.
Do you think if you made a dating profile...
you're leading me by the nose to say chocolate. Chocolate.
I'm on to the next stupid question. If you had a dating profile and you had to title it, you could put whatever you want for like pictures and stuff, and you could put really like well-written stuff about charity work that you don't do and things like that. You could, however you can write it up to get dates, you write it. But the title of it has to be, I liked everything buttered chips. That has to be the title of it, but everything else can be however you want. Do you think you're going to get many replies?
I mean, probably some. I mean, it's like some people would find it funny.
Who?
What would be better to me if I made that the headline and then didn't explain it at all?
Right.
Just like the 7th picture that people could swipe through is just like a bag of Doritos and then nothing else. No other reference to it or anything.
The profile pic is a bag of Doritos. I like everything but our chips. I'm like, what? I don't get it.
All right.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Anyway.
All right, great.
We'll be back next time. Hey, give us one more chocolate.
Chocolate.
Next time. We'll be back next time. We'll be trying out 3 brand new snacks.
Deuces.
Chocolate.